Welcome to the Explore Eagle podcast, the City of Eagle's podcast with the same name as our app, Explore Eagle. Hi, I'm Mayor Jason Pierce. People often ask me, what does Eagle's motto, Life Done Right, mean? In each episode, we will talk with the city leaders, staff, business owners, and residents to explore the many ways Eagle is life done right. Welcome to our Explore Eagle podcast. My name is Jason Pierce, and I always say I'm lucky enough to be the mayor of the City of Eagle. And today we're going to be talking with Council Member Melissa Gindlesperger. She is also our Pro-Tem. So just kind of a little talk today about what did you do for a profession before you got involved in the council? What do you still do now? And a little bit about your family.
So I'm in advertising. My husband and I have an advertising agency. We work around the country with small to medium-sized businesses that do all their advertising online, any kind of media they have, logos, graphics, and stuff. Been married for almost 29 years. Have a 25-year-old daughter who got married a few years ago, so that was the best part of 2020. So
Very cool.
They got married then, so and I still work about 40 to 50 hours a week.
On top of your
this,
city
yeah.
council time.
Yeah.
So what kind of drew you to Eagle? What kind of made you want to move to Eagle?
We first visited the Treasure Valley back in '98. So our daughter was about 5 months old, and we came here from Southern California at the time, and stayed down in Boise, and just really enjoyed the entire area. Didn't get as far up into Eagle probably as we thought we did back in the day, but we've always just really enjoyed this area. Our daughter ran cross country and track in Oregon, and came here for nationals at Eagle Island State Park, for regionals. And so we'd come here a number of times over a few different years and really enjoyed the area, and finally made the move back in 2015.
You have an interesting than any of the other council members in the fact that you were appointed in the beginning and took over someone's position who had left. So what made you kind of want to put your name in for that to get appointed? And then, the whole different thing is running.
Yeah.
Right? Running is a whole different animal than being appointed. So what kind of made you want to get involved in the City of Eagle? And
Well, when 2020 kind of hit, and I didn't know a lot about what was going on in our local and state government, and wanted to get involved and see what was happening and who was making the decisions and where things were being directed from. So I found out, through the Facebook page for the city that you were having the coffee meetings and stuff, and so started attending that, getting a little bit more involved and learning about what you were talking about, what was going on in our city, and seeing the interaction with people in the community, and so just started going to that. And then when I heard that there was an appointment, I happened to mention it to my husband, and I just told him, and he's like, "You should put your name in." I was like, "Okay." So then I went to one of the coffee meetings, and you had mentioned again that there was an opening, and somebody else had looked at me and said, "You should put your name in." I said, "Okay, I guess I'll put my name in." So that's how that came to be. So
then, as far as deciding to run after that, like I said, it's a whole different thing. You got to raise money. You got to go out and talk to a lot of people. It's, you're going to have people that like what you're going to say, and you have people that aren't going to like what you're going to say. And that's not always an easy thing to deal with.
Yeah.
And so what kind of made you want to run again?
Well, I knew that was going to be a part of what you were looking for in the appointment too. So I knew that was important, that there was that long-term commitment. It wasn't just a short-term appointment. So I really wanted to honor that and work through the process of going through an election. And I know that you're not going to make everybody happy, and you're not going to say all the right things at all times, but I really wanted to make that commitment to the city, and just go through the process and see what that was like. I enjoyed I enjoyed the sleepless nights. It was fun.
It still is, right?
Yeah.
So what do you kind of see as far as now that you've been in the position for a while? What are the differences between kind of what you may have assumed local government was like? Because, I always say that at this level, we're affecting people's lives more than the national, more than even the state level and all those things, making decisions on stuff. So what have you kind of found are the things that you expected, and what are the things that you kind of went, oh my goodness, this was totally different than I expected?
One of the things I now knowing as a council member that I didn't know as a citizen is just the entire process of how land development works, approvals of projects, and how those things come about, and what stipulations you have and don't have. And I think a lot of the citizens don't realize, how these particular things are being governed through the city. We have a large document, with the comp plan and land use development map that states how a city should be run. And
what is, the things that you learned by being on council that might have been something that you expected or something that you thought, oh my gosh, this works totally different than I ever expected?
I was not aware how the city ran from a standpoint of land development, the comp plan, how much is invested into the city from a governing sense of what needs to be done and how it needs to be approached. So I think that's an interesting thing. I think a lot of people, when they move into an area, don't think about, let me go in and read the 283-page document of how the city is ran and what the general overall plan is. That there's a lot of thought and process that goes into it, and not everything that you see will stay the way you see it when you move here.
What's the hardest part about being a council member, and then what's the best part about being a council member?
For me, the hardest part is probably managing all the different things that I do professionally, personally, and then city council, and making sure that I have the dedicated time to this to be able to really make all of the educated decisions that I need to do, and really being focused. One of the best things is just being able to see the people that you interact with on a basis that you normally wouldn't. I've working at home, I don't get out a lot and get to communicate with people as much. We're all virtual, so that's a nice thing now. I've gone into places that I normally don't see people that I know, and have an opportunity to interact with the public more than I normally would.
Yeah, the public is one of the greatest parts. Even when people aren't happy with you, it's still nice to talk to people. And I think one of the things that we both do is, hey, we're not always going to agree, right? But at least understand where we're all coming from. And those really make good conversations. And we don't know everything, right? I mean, we need to hear from people on, well, how can we make things better? Because I think we all want the best community.
Absolutely.
So while serving on the city council, what is a milestone or something that you want to have happen in the city while you're here? We're kind of only guaranteed the time that we're elected. And so is there anything that you've seen that, like, hey, I really want to work towards this. This is something the city needs, or something, the budget, making sure it's, kept to, where it is good for all the people that live here.
Yeah, I really identify with how the budget's being done. I mean, from a small business owner standpoint, I'm really on top of finances and what we do on a personal level and professionally. So I'm really intrigued with how the entire capital maintenance and project plan works in that 5-year budget, because that's how I operate a business and professionally and personally. So I really do want to maintain that open and transparent budget that we have for the city, and having that be something that all the citizens have the ability to refer back to as a governing document.
Right. Yeah, that capital plan and the capital maintenance plan is something that added a ton of time and effort to the council, having to go through stuff and decide what it is that the city wants as a whole. Not only from a council, but we get staff input, we get resident inputs, my input, and so on and so forth. So, but I think it's something that's been very, very important, so that we can show the residents what is going on with their money.
Absolutely.
And so I really appreciate you guys, taking the time to do that, and putting that extra effort in.
Yeah,
So
that's an important thing, because that's one of the biggest factors I think a lot of people think about is their property taxes and how their taxes are being paid. And when it's city money, I think you're very responsible for that, and being as open and honest as possible with that.
Yeah, definitely. So what's something that's coming up in Eagle that you're excited about? I mean, we've got a lot of stuff going on.
I'm always a fan of fun days.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest draws, obviously, for the city and bringing people here. Country Christmas. But I love the fact that it's such a family-friendly community. We have these events that are bringing back what a lot of people, I think, miss in life and in other cities. And I think that's such an important thing to continue to maintain. But I really I'm all about fun days, and the parade and getting wet.
Exactly. And it's kind of, everybody talks about that small town charm, that small town feel. And I think those events where you get to see people that you might not have seen in months or even, the year out there, when we've got 30, 40,000 people lying in the streets, and it's kind of fun. So what is something that in the next, what's left of your term, that you want to try to accomplish? Is there something out there that, you really like from this term? Not saying that you won't run again, but just saying, is there something that you look out there and you go, gosh, I'd really like to make sure we do this for the city moving forward?
One of my goals is just to maintain the aesthetic of how the city of Eagle is, and I think a lot of that comes into the downtown area, just maintaining that look. I know growth happens, things change, but keeping mindful of what Eagle is and how people have come here and what the look is, and just growing responsibly with that, and just still having it still look like Eagle, not look like something maybe somebody's come from, or bigger city that people don't particularly care for, but just to maintain that small town feel. So I'd like to just continue with that same approach.
Excellent. So what our motto is life done right. So what does that kind of mean to you when it comes to the city of Eagle?
Kind of like what I just said, it was just, being responsible with how the city grows. But I think the other thing too with life done right is also from a personal perspective. I mean, we're maintaining a family-friendly environment. We're keeping our residents as safe as possible. Just having a lot of those vibes and feels that I think a lot of people miss, from either a time before or another area they used to live, and just having that be something that we maintain for our area is just, a family-friendly, safe area that has the values that I think is really important for everybody right now, especially in this time in our history.
Yeah. All right, well, we've been talking today with Melissa Gindlesperger, one of our city council members, and thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us on our Explore Eagle podcast. I hope you will subscribe and listen to our Explore Eagle podcast so you can hear how Eagle is life done right. In the meantime, you can check out our website at cityofeagle.org or app Explore Eagle, available for free at the Apple App Store or Google Play.